All right. Okay. I guess it's time we talk about this. Now, if you just clicked in and you have no idea who I am, first of all, what's the crack? My name is Deebeegeek and I'm a YouTuber and I like making videos about video games and stuff. And now and again, we talk about the things that have been happening on the internet, and certain piece of news that has dropped and has blown up quite dramatically is the situation with Hale Taylor and Platinum Games and the dispute of wages and unfair pay. I'm just going to be completely honest here in this video. I'm going to give my 2 cents on everything, and I'm going to give you the full story of exactly what I'm talking about and how it has escalated into so much more. It seems to have so much more information that has been hidden and now has been revealed. Take everything with a grain of salt as well. I don't want everybody taking everything so literally, and don't jump to conclusions and all that stuff. There is two sides of the story here, and what we essentially have is a he said, she said situation that has escalated into a lot more than what I think people have been anticipating. Hale Taylor, the voice actor for Bayonetta, she had recently taken to Twitter a situation that I think has been eating up inside of her for quite some time, and that is the lack of pay that Platinum Games and Hideki has offered her for reprising her role as Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3. In her video, she spoke briefly about who she is and the character that she had portrayed and the amount of money that Platinum Games and Nintendo have made from this IP. It's stated that they have made over $400 million. I don't know how much of that is true. Like I said at the start of this video, please take it with a grain of salt. Now, if that is the case, then of course you would think there'd be enough money to pay the voice actors and the talent accordingly. You would think it'd be a no-brainer to offer a little bit more money, even a lot more money actually, to the voice actors and the talent that bring these characters to life. Now, she had done multiple videos, 4 I think to be precise, but I'll just break it down here really quickly and tell you exactly what was being said. She spoke about the payment and that she was offered for her session, or for her entire performance in Bayonetta 3, which was a flat rate of $4,000. Now, according to her, they actually offered her something else before that, which would have been a lower offer than $4,000. When I first initially heard that, of course, I was kind of in shock. I couldn't believe it. Like, $4,000 for an entire performance of a character that's already widely popular is just outrageous, and it's unfair. And of course, the internet responded accordingly. It's been retweeted, it's been shared. People have given their opinions more blunt than others on the internet, and it has escalated out of control. Like, it is absolutely insane what's happening right now and how people have responded. And a lot of people have responded emotionally, including myself. When I first initially saw this on Twitter, I retweeted it, and I was sickened by it, and I think a lot of people were as well, just to hear this piece of information. Now, my first initial reaction happened over on Twitch. I will share some clips with you and give you guys my overall opinion on the situation from that stream right now. 4,000. That's the flat rate they offered her. 4,000. The franchise has made 400 million. Right? Which is a huge amount of money, right? You just know that Platinum Games, whoever's responsible for paying the salaries or paying the staff and paying the talent, you know, the money is there. There's no shortage of it. It's the video gaming industry. It's the most successful industry in entertainment. It's got the most money. The money's there. So she is asking the fans, the Bayonetta community, to boycott Bayonetta 3. Now, I know a lot of people are going to ask me what are my thoughts on this, and am I going to boycott the game? Am I going to rally this boycott? Am I going to, you know, support this? I'm going to say this, right? A video game is comprised of so much talent. So much. You have a whole fucking building full of people working on this game, okay? The voices to the characters is a huge part of that game to tell the story and the overall narrative of what the game is about and what characters are involved in it. But boycotting the game means you're not just boycotting Bayonetta and the video game, you're boycotting the amount of work, the hundreds and hundreds of hours that have been put into developing such game. The whole freaking team of people that have worked day in and day out on something special for the fans to enjoy. That's what you're boycotting here. So I don't agree with that, but I do feel for Helena 100%. It sucks because she done such an amazing job with the character in the first and second game, and I'm still playing through the second game, you know? It's just, when I first found out that the voice actress changed, I was kind of like, okay, why? You know, she was fantastic. Why change? What happened? And I think it was said that, oh, schedules didn't meet up, something like that. That was the lame excuse that was used. But turns out this is the reason. This is the real reason. And yeah, it really, really sucks. Now, as you've seen from that stream, there's a couple of things I spoke about, and I didn't want to jump straight into conclusions. As I finally watched all of the videos that were there, I responded to it accordingly, emotionally, and I retweeted it, and I spoke about my opinion on that matter. Due to watching all of the videos and seeing a little bit more of Helena and her attitude toward this particular situation, it had kind of opened my eyes a little bit more. And I can't help but feel that maybe this is just coming from a place of rage and a place of anger, and she's not being 100% transparent with everybody on Twitter with the information that she had shared. After that tweet, there was a response from Hideki himself. Hideki Kamiya tweeted out afterwards a response, a very, very brief response to Helena Taylor's video on Twitter, saying, "Sad and deplorable about the attitude of untruth. That's what all I can tell now. By the way, beware of my rules." Now, when he says beware of my rules, he's referring to his rules on Twitter. I didn't know this about Hideki. I didn't realize he had these strict rules on his Twitter profile. But since the situation had escalated out of absolute control, it seems he went on a massive blocking rampage and quite literally ended up suspending his own account because he blocked so many people. Of course, you can imagine this man was bombarded with lots of hate and questions, etc., which led him to going on a massive block spree, which suspended his account for a few days, or even just a day. I'm not sure how long, but his account is back right now. Hideki has made the statement that Helena is actually lying or not telling the full truth. Now, that comes to my next topic of conversation, is a recent article that has come out from Bloomberg. I know what you're thinking, Bloomberg, but apparently the other sources are confirming that these sources and these points that are being made on the Bloomberg article are indeed correct. A pay dispute between the creator of a critically acclaimed video game series and its star voice actor reignited a long, simmering debate over wages in the industry. As is often the case in these sorts of disagreements, the details surrounding negotiations and casting for the upcoming game Bayonetta 3 are more complicated than one has been portrayed publicly. Now, this of course is referring to Helena Taylor's tweet and her videos and how she spoke about being lowballed with pay and all that stuff, but she failed to mention some things, and that's what we're about to find out in this article. The feud spilled out into the open over the weekend when Helena Taylor, the star of the first two Bayonetta games, said she would not appear in the next iteration. Now, before we continue this article, what was originally the cause of this, according to Platinum Games, was that their schedules didn't meet. That was the reason why Helena Taylor could not voice Bayonetta in the third installment of the game, which has come to light, according to Helena Taylor, that was indeed false, and it was a lie, a barefaced lie. That's where I'm kind of like, right, so who's actually telling the truth here? And that's the situation that we're in right now. You could be on one side of the fence and say Helena Taylor did not deserve this is unfair treatment, her word is true, her word is pure, and Platinum Games and Hideki should be ashamed of themselves. Or you can be on the other side of the fence and say, look, Hideki has said that she's lying, Platinum Games have also said that she's lying, and she's not telling the full truth. So you have to decide which side of the fence you want to be on, or you could be a little level-headed and just wait for more information. Set to be released on Nintendo Switch on October 28th, she posted a series of videos Saturday on Twitter accusing Nintendo company and the game's developer, Platinum Games, of offering her a total of $4,000 to reprise her role. She said we already have a she said in this article. She rejected the lowball offer and asked fans to refrain from buying the game. Now, this is something that I didn't talk about yet, but I did talk about in my stream. But basically, because of the situation and because of the lowball offer and the unfair treatment and how Helena Taylor herself has said that she feels like she's been undervalued by this company, she decided to say to her fans of Bayonetta and her performance as the character to boycott Bayonetta 3. Now, due to recent reports and because of this massive publicity, it has done the opposite to that. Sales have increased, pre-orders are up, more people are talking about Bayonetta. Even people that don't even know what Bayonetta is are talking about Bayonetta, which in turn will get them into the franchise, which in turn will boost sales. But overall, it's having an opposite effect on the franchise, and more people are actually buying the game. Now, granted, I know a lot of people have cancelled their pre-orders and they have no intention of buying the game in support of Helena, and that's fine and that's okay. But my own personal opinion on boycotting this video game is this: I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think you should boycott Bayonetta 3 because there's so much more than just the voice acting in the development of this game. That's my own personal opinion. Of course, I am a definite advocate for those getting, the right pay, fair treatment for the work that they put into something. And of course, Helena Taylor definitely deserves more money than she was offered. Now, I am going to talk about something in this article that has brought stuff to light that Helena herself decided not to mention in her videos, which is a red flag. If you're someone who cares about people, this is from Helena herself, who cares about the world around you, who cares about who gets hurt with these financial decisions, then I urge you to boycott this game, Taylor said in one of the videos. Now, this statement here is a little bit on the nose, if you ask me. She's basically saying, if you don't boycott the game, then you don't care about people. If you don't boycott the game, you don't care about the world around you. If you don't boycott the game, you don't care about the people that get hurt in financial situations. That's basically what she's saying in this statement in a little bit of a rigmarole way. I don't like that statement. I think she should leave it up to the fans whether or not they want to boycott the game in support of her, not basically telling them that they don't care about the world or the people that are in financial situations if they don't. Because that's what I get from this statement. I don't mean any ill will for Taylor or what she's trying to say here, but that's what I get. And one thing that I can't help but notice when watching these videos of Taylor is just how angry she is, how hurt she is, and how disappointed she is. She's gonna say some things with a little bit more malicious intent that I don't think are 100% sincere. If you are in the situation where you've worked for a company for so long, you've given absolutely everything you got in making the role that you have taken the best role you can give, of course you're going to be upset, of course you're going to be angry, of course you're going to say nasty things, of course you're going to lash out on the people that done wrong by you. And that's what the videos were from Helena. That's what it was. That's what this was. I could imagine it was eating her up inside. I could imagine seeing all the promotional material for Bayonetta 3 and the marketing and the advertisement and the trailers and the positive responses from the community and the fan base. It's gonna just tear into her emotionally and mentally. And that's the thing. When something is emotionally driven, and especially when that is put out on the internet, it just gains so much traction because you can see the emotion in her face, and people will relate to that, and they will respond and react accordingly to that. So that's how I feel about Helena Taylor's statements on Twitter. But let's keep going. We're going to actually get into the new information now. The videos went viral, racking more than 9.5 million views. Taylor's story touched a nerve among gamers. Voice actors are beloved by fans, but fail to command anywhere close to what a Hollywood actor makes. And I spoke about this on Twitch. You would think it would be the same, but the only thing is, it's a voice behind a character, created by a team of people and imagination and all that stuff. When it comes to Hollywood, you have the face, you have the voice, you have the stature, And when you create a reputation in Hollywood, if you're in multiple different roles in films and TV shows, you become more valuable. But in the voice acting world, in this industry with video games and of course even movies that are, CGI'd and stuff, the voice actors never really truly gain that sort of traction because all we hear is the voices, and they get so less recognition and so much less money and pay and rewards. Game actors have long complained of being underpaid and underappreciated. Some have said they receive little information about their roles until they show up in the recording booth. The industry operates in such clandestine ways that actors sometimes won't even know what game they're recording lines for until it's released. I think that's really interesting because only recently I actually spoke to Sky Bennett, the voice actress for Pyra and Mithra in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And she spoke about some things. I won't go into details because this is stuff I'm saving for an event. But she did speak about, being in a room and deciding what characters to voice. And at first she had very little information about the character. She didn't really know what she was getting into at first. Sometimes they don't even know what the character looks like, They're just told to say certain things in a certain way and eventually they get the information about the characters that they're voicing. I think they should give them as much information about the character as physically possible so they can truly embody the character and give it their absolute everything, so the character gets the persona that the developers and the team and that the storytellers are trying to say to the audience, So yeah, I think that's a very weird and vague situation to be in as a voice actor. The tensions last crested during contract negotiations in 2016 when the union representing many voice actors, the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, orchestrated a strike that lasted nearly a year. One of the sticking points was residuals, meaning compensation for actors when sales of the game outperform expectations. Voice actors gave up that fight in exchange for receiving bonuses based on the number of sessions they work. This has been something that has been plaguing the voice acting industry for quite some time, and it has been a serious situation for far too long. And honestly, in this day and age, you would think it wouldn't be a situation anymore. But here we are talking about a voice actor that was unfair paid by a company that made millions on a franchise because of how amazing her performance was, but not just solely on her performance. Let me just highlight that again. It's not just her that had made the game so successful. You have to think about the artists, the devs, the sound designers, and all of the hard work that goes into designing and creating the world of Bayonetta. Of course, the performance is super important and definitely needs to be acknowledged more in the video gaming industry. In the case of Bayonetta 3, developer appeared to be determined to rehire Taylor, seemingly. According to two people familiar with the negotiations as well as documentation reviewed by Bloomberg, here's where their accounts differ. Alright, this is where we're getting into the new information that had only recently come to light. Platinum Games sought to hire Taylor for at least 5 sessions, each paying $3,000 to $4,000 for 4 hours in the studio. So if you do the math, it comes to about $15,000 for her overall performance. I'm just going to talk about it here, and I'm going to let you know what I think about this figure, since Helena didn't actually bring this in her videos. I think $15,000 is still a little low, and I definitely think that they could go a little higher in paying her a lot more than that because of the success of Bayonetta 1 and 2. And one can argue the Bayonetta series is not the most successful Nintendo IP, because it's not. It is not. There's far more successful IPs out there. I know loads of people have never played Bayonetta. Feckin' hell, I only recently started playing Bayonetta. I can understand that. But I do think, especially with the amount of traction and amount of support Bayonetta 3 is getting, Helena definitely deserves more than that. Now, do I think a lot more? No. I think $15,000 is decent, but not perfect. I think if we were at the $20,000 marks, then we're at a proper sweet spot, and I think there shouldn't be any arguments there. That would make the total for the game at least $15,000. In response, they said Taylor asked for a 6-figure sum as well as residuals on the game. Now, this is the part where I'm kind of like, okay, Helena, you might be shooting far higher than you should. A six-figure sum for her performance is just no. There is voice actors in the industry that would never, ever receive that kind of paycheck. I think shooting for that, and I respect you for shooting for that price and hoping they negotiate lower than that, but not too much lower. I understand, I respect the hustle, and I understand that money needs to be made, and you see your value. I think us as fans and as a community, we see your value too. But a six-figure sum, as well as residuals on the game, that's asking for far too much. Platinum declined, of course, and following lengthy negotiations, took auditions for a new actor. We'll get to the new actor now. Platinum later offered Taylor a cameo in the game, which is interesting. So is the $4,000, which she had stated in her video, a second offer? As in the second offer to play Bayonetta in a cameo. One cameo, $4,000. That's a huge amount of money for just one cameo. I'm just saying. For the fee of one session. Yeah, see, one session, which she turned down, the people said. So she actually turned that down. So is that the offer that she spoke about when she reached out to Hideki and asked Hideki about her worth and does he think she's valuable? And he said yes. So we'll give you an offer to be a cameo in the game since we've already hired somebody else to voice Bayonetta, but you can make a cameo in the game. I don't know what that means. I don't want to get into spoilers or anything, but basically offering her a lot of money just to do one session, which is, I think, quite generous, right? Right? In an email, Taylor described this account as an absolute lie. So she is saying that they're lying and said Platinum was trying to save their ass and the game. So she's basically saying that everything that we just read here is not true. This is why you need to take everything with a grain of salt. She said she stood by everything she said in the video. I would like to put the whole bloody franchise behind me, quite frankly. Get on with my life in the theater, she wrote. Representatives for Platinum Games and Nintendo didn't respond to requests for comment. Now, the next thing in these articles just speaks about other actors and what they've been paid. So what I've seen and what I understand from voice acting and the amount of pay that actually goes into it, it's not a whole lot. It is a lot less than you would think. And I think that's where the initial shock comes from the original Twitter post that Helena put out. It's not just a shocking figure to say that you were being offered to play an iconic character, but it's also shocking for those that have little to no understanding of how much pay voice actors actually get. You know, when it actually comes to light, people are very shocked. And I think when people saw this at first, including myself, because I'm ignorant when it comes to the pay of what voice actors get, but because of this situation, I've educated myself on it, and to my understanding, the amount of money that she was offered is actually quite high compared to other performances that we've seen in the video gaming industry. A lot of actors don't get paid a whole lot, less than $1,000 per session sometimes, and a session could go on for 3-4 hours. So you can understand that people realizing the low amount of pay that voice actors are getting paid is a shock in itself. But I guess you can take this in whatever way you want. You can see this as a win for the voice actors. They're finally being heard. Helena has spoken out on behalf of not just herself, but the voice actors and the industry. And now people know how lowball pay these actors actually get. So do we need to do something about it? Do we need to rally up? Do we need to, enforce better pay for these performances or what? I don't know. But it definitely has made more people talk about it, including myself in this video. But overall, it is a crazy situation. I personally think that the talent behind the characters that we love in video games definitely deserve a lot more pay. They definitely deserve more recognition and 100% should get some sort of percentage cut from the profit in sales. That's my opinion. But is it ever going to happen? Probably not. Do you know why? Because business is business. And that's just the way it is. Unfortunately. It sucks. But that is just the way it is. I wish there was more I could say about it, but there isn't. But basically, the rest of the article here on Bloomberg speaks of other voice actors that have spoken about how much they were paid. It's, to them, to be quite honest, is normal. Do they feel like they're being undervalued and underpaid? Yeah, of course they do. I'm sure a lot of voice actors do, but that's what it is. And for example, Brian Deckard, who acted in Cyberpunk 2077, and Red Dead Redemption 2, said he was offered $4,000 to work on a non-union project for a big budget game. And Sean Chiplock, you guys know him, Rivali's Gale is now ready, who voiced 3 characters in Nintendo blockbuster The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, said he was paid about $3,000 for that job. And that was 3 characters, so he got paid $1,000 per character. But, you see what I mean? And we all know how hugely popular Breath of the Wild is, right? So, like, you can take this whatever way you want, but it's normal, the amount of money that was being offered here. The amount of money that was being put on the plate. You would say if the $15,000 for the entire session or the entire recording and the performance is a huge amount of money. Like, that's massive compared to what others are getting. Yeah, it's a weird situation to be in. Like, it's such a weird thing to think about. And the more I see it, the more that I see and understand the amount of pay that's actually involved for this kind of performancing, it just blows my mind. It blows my mind. Now, the next topic of conversation we're going to talk about is her replacement. In her videos, Taylor mentioned Jennifer Hale, the prolific voice actor who took over the role of Bayonetta in the new game. I wish her all the joy in the world. I wish her all the jobs, but she has no right to say she's the voice of Bayonetta. I created that voice. She has no right to sign merchandise as Bayonetta. So it's another thing that I'm sure had been eating her up inside, that had been deteriorating her emotions, is seeing somebody else being the voice of a character that she worked so hard in creating and making her own. And I'll never take it away from you, Helena. I think your whole performance as Bayonetta is just chef's kiss. It's amazing. It's the reason why the character is just so loved. You know, it just feels so perfect. The role is so perfect. So in my eyes, personally, and my own experience through Bayonetta, Helena Taylor will always be Bayonetta. But Jennifer Hale, one would say, is actually a more known voice actor and has done incredible roles, is now the new voice of Bayonetta. And I think if her performance is incredible, which I'm sure it's going to be in Bayonetta 3, then she does have the right to say she voices Bayonetta. She can be specific about it too. She can say, I do voice Bayonetta in Bayonetta 3. But the previous renditions of the character were done by Helena Taylor. I don't know why Taylor decided to kind of sort of lash out on Jennifer like this. This is an emotionally driven video. So she's going to say things that's on her mind and it'll just come out as word vomit. And unfortunately, Jennifer ended up getting thrown in there as well and saying that she has no right, even though Jennifer hasn't really said anything. So speaking about Jennifer, she actually did put out a post. But this is her words right here. With regard to Bayonetta 3, as a longtime member of the voice acting community, I support every actor's right to be paid well and have advocated consistently for this for years. Anyone who knows me or has followed my career will know that I have a great respect for my peers and that I am an advocate for all members of the community. I am under an NDA and am not at liberty to speak regarding this situation. My reputation speaks for itself. I sincerely ask that everyone keep in mind that this game has been created by an entire team of hard-working, dedicated people, and I hope everyone will keep an open mind about what they've created. Finally, I hope that everyone involved might resolve their differences in an amicable and respectful way. With love and respect to you all, Jennifer Hale. And I have nothing but respect for this post. She hits it right on the head. You know, she's not going to speak viciously about anyone. She has been an advocate for fair treatment and fair pay in her industry. She has a reputation that I think none of us can disagree with. She's absolutely fantastic and she's a huge talent in the industry. She also respected her NDA, which, you know, I have props for her for doing that too. One of the things that I don't like about the Twitter post as well, as much as it was a message and a plea for her community and the fan base to hear her story and hear her side of the story, it's on the internet. And it's on one of the most toxic platforms, which is Twitter. And because it's there, you're going to have a lot of angry, stupid ass, toxic ass people that are going to attack everybody on the opposite side just for the sake of attacking them. And because of that, Jennifer herself faced some vicious online harassment. Just because your ass has been ignited by information that you don't fully understand, you don't come at people like that. It's not nice. It's completely unacceptable and shouldn't happen. But it does happen. That basically right now is the situation with Hale Taylor, Hideki, and Platinum Games. It is, quite frankly, a he said, she said situation. But I think the overall message to get from this video is that talent, the people that make characters so popular, deserve more. And that's true. And it doesn't matter in this particular situation if someone is not telling the full truth or is lying or whatever. The fact of the matter is, the one thing that we can get from this whole situation is that we are blind to the reality of the unfair pay that happens in the video gaming industry or the entertainment industry as a whole. Whether it's animated TV shows, anime, video games, etc., the voices that bring the characters to life don't get enough recognition and don't get enough credit for what they do, and especially don't get paid enough for it either. I think as a community, help out in this situation is not to lash out on the companies or the people that are on the other side of an argument, but more so rally up as many people as you can and try and enforce better pay for these people that are in the industry, because they deserve it. Hale Taylor definitely deserves so much more than she was offered. Granted, she wasn't being fully transparent in what she was saying. Platinum Games need to recognize the talent that they have, that have done so much for them in creating successful IPs. We all need to show a little bit more appreciation for the voice work, because it's not easy making a character likable. It's not easy making a fictional character at that, and a character that we can all relate to and love. And for example, Hale Taylor's performance as Bayonetta is outstanding, and because of that, I've fallen in love with that character so quickly, and it's one of my favorite franchises now because of her performance. And of course, the game is badass. But as of today, that's what I know, and that's my 2 cents on the whole situation. And to end things off here today, a lot of you have been asking, am I going to boycott Bayonetta 3? Am I going to stop my Bayonetta Let's Play series on the YouTube channel? No. As a matter of fact, hell no. I love this game, I love this franchise, and I will continue to support it until it stops. I love it that much. I don't think it deserves to be boycotted. As I've stated before, there's so much more behind the game than just the voice acting. This is my way of respecting that and their work, and also supporting it, because I'm just excited. So I won't be boycotting it, and that's my own choice, and you have your choice too. If you feel like you want to boycott the game, I am not going to disagree with your opinion and your choice. That's entirely your choice. Anyway, I know this video was kind of long, but thank you so much everyone for being incredible and supporting me as a creator and hearing me out on this situation. And you know, I hope you can all just kind of see it in your hearts as well, just to support these voice actors and their work in whatever way you can. Personally, voice actors that are underpaid, they should think of crowdfunding. They should think of, you know, their community. Like, don't ever underestimate the power of the community and your supporters, because as a YouTuber, as a streamer, this is how we make our living. We completely 100% rely on the support of our communities, and of course ad revenue is a thing too. But yeah, so that's my advice to voice actors that feel like they're being underpaid for the work they do. You're being underpaid, but you're certainly not being undervalued by your community. So reach out to them. If you need a little help, we'll help you. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say before this gets in any sort of mushy or whatever. Thank you so much for watching this video. More Bayonetta content is on the way. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Show some love for Jennifer Hale, Hale Taylor. People that need a bit of love, show it to them. And again, I hope this video was somewhat educational of the situation, and I hope you have a little bit more of a broad understanding and an open mind of the situation as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, lads, and I'll see you in my next one.